welcome to another episode of the sci-fi and fantasy edition of the Incoming Video Podcast, the show that looks back at the previous week's sci-fi and fantasy miniature releases. This is episode 25, which looks back at the releases for week ending the 26th of March 2010. As always, I'm your host Neil Shuck. Quite a few miniature releases this week, so an awful lot to choose from. Hopefully you'll see something in my selection that you'll really like. But we've got lots to get through, so we'll crack on, shall we? Starting at number 10, we have new release from Minos Miniatures, a company that's only been going a few weeks and is already putting out some very strong casts. These are their new Devillettes, which look not a million miles away from GW's Slaanesh Demonettes. The similarity between the two is obvious to see. So while these are nice minis, I have to say they're hardly original. I suppose it gives you an alternative for your Chaos armies. The level of sculpting on these miniatures are okay. I think the anatomy, well, if you'll pardon the expression, it looks a little stuck on in places. What may not be completely apparent from these particular pictures is that there only appears to be 3 different variations in pose, as 2 of the figures look to be the same in this pack of 5. But a decent enough release from Minos. On to number 9, and my favourite miniature release this week from Reaper, and this really is an awesome figure. This is a character called Dr. Tokenkrantz, sculpted by Matthew Bingley. And, well, this is just an awesome ultimate mad scientist, suspended in some sort of cyborg chair. Very reminiscent actually of a character that may have appeared out of the David Lynch version of Dune. I find that's something that could easily be inspired by something out of 40k, for example, as some sort of mutant, or even some sort of tech mage, kept going by a machine. It's simply an awesome sculpt. I think this is something that is well worth another look. Could easily be incorporated into any number of dioramas. Could be incorporated as a general for an army. But, just a fantastic miniature. Great stuff from Matthew Bingley. On to number 8, and a recent release from Micro Art Studios. This is the Brotherhood of Steel, and these again continue a theme this week so far of figures that are reminiscent of other companies. Again, these look something similar to tech priests available from Games Workshop, or maybe redemptionist cultists. We have a set of 5 figures. Here you see both front and back. 3 rifles, a couple of heavier weapons. Excellent set of minis again. Could easily be incorporated not only with a GW army, but maybe something out of like say something like Pig Iron's range, for example. Now these are available for pre-order. They're actually going to be available to buy from the middle of April. And again, I think these are excellent minis. Micro Art have been doing some really good stuff. These are the same guys that produce the Discworld miniatures, for example. And here we see an excellent range of figures. As a start, it's interesting that this is the first pack in the Brotherhood of Steel range. I'm hoping we'll see a lot more character figures, special weapons. It'd be good to see these as an alternative to something like a Necromunda gang, maybe even as an alternative for an Imperial Guard army. Maybe these could be Chaos Cultists, or just as an army to put your Pig Iron Troopers against. But again, taking the theme of Gothic science fiction and running with it in a similar but not quite the same direction as other companies. But nonetheless, good stuff from Micro Art Studios. At number 7, we have some new releases from Mantic. Now, Mantic have been pretty busy over the last few weeks, and here we see the latest releases for the rendered army. These are their much anticipated Revenant Cavalry. First off, we see details of a musician and a standard bearer, both looking quite OTT. I mean, the musician's horn is just completely over the top. The standard bearer, I think, actually looks really good, especially with the tattered banner that it's carrying with it. That's quite an effective looking model. Following on from these two, we have some various knights. You see a knight armed with a sword. Finally, we have some knights with lances. Some pretty awesome looking models, these. Probably some of the best undead cavalry I've seen. I'm sure you agree that although some of the stuff that Mantic is issuing has been a little bit mixed, these are just simply awesome. Fantastic sculpts. Number 6, we have another new release from AEG, yet another feature on the Dust Tactics game. Here's a preview of the new German mech for that game. This is an Axis Class 4 robot, codenamed Luther. This is a model that's going to come with the game. And I must admit, I think this particular model gives anything that the likes of Westwind have produced a run for the money. And if this is available in plastic, then I think this is going to be an awesome kit. Certainly looks very effective. Into the top 5, and we have a new release from Korson. Korson continues to be very busy with their sci-fi range at the moment, but these are brilliant. These are their new Vespiulids, a sci-fi race based on wasps. Pretty awesome looking stuff. Very different looking creatures. For some reason, these tend to have jetpacks as opposed to wings. But even so, an awesome looking insect race, if that's the sort of thing you're after. Something a little bit different from your average bug. Korson continue to produce lots of unusual looking aliens. More great stuff from Korson. Really good. I'm sticking with sci-fi as we go to number 4. But moving up scale a bit, we have a new release from Pig Iron. These are some of their new system troopers. These are the heavy weapons guys. So I hope these are actually going to be a forerunner of some proper troops from Pig Iron. Pig Iron have been going from strength to strength with their releases. They got some awesome stuff there, a fantastic source of alternative Imperial Guard troops, amongst other things, some awesome armoured vehicles as well. A few people have complained about the issue with the over-the-top weapon hold. You know, they're saying it's not the most efficient way to carry a weapon. That said, it is one of the archetypal looks of sci-fi, actually having a handhold over the top of a weapon. And these particular troops look really nice. First of what I hope is quite a big range from Pig Iron. Always excellent sculpts, lots of little extras as well. Fantastic stuff. Into the top 3, and it's Hasslefree Miniatures. And what we're looking at here are a couple of new releases of dwarves. Now these particular dwarves are not actually sculpted by Kev White. These are dwarves actually from their Twisted Tales range. Effectively they're Chaos dwarves. First of all we have Barzak's Skull Smasher, and then we have Balgin Blood Axe. As I say, the Twisted Tales range was put together by Hasslefree so that other sculptors could release their wares through the company. You know I'm a big fan of dwarves, and these are both fairly awesome. Really nice sculpts, chock full of character. I especially like Skull Smasher. I think he's an awesome looking dwarf. A couple of great releases from Hasslefree. Number 2, I'm on to a set of releases for the Infinity game. These are the March releases for that game. Several ones that caught my eye. First off, we have an Azrael with a Panzerfaust. Then we have a Mormur with a T2 rifle. That's quite a nice mini. Then we have one of my personal favourites, the Salute Zons. Then we have the Dakini Takbots. Very, very anime looking robots these. They're really nice. And finally, my favourite miniature, the Zerat Hacker. Awesome set of sculpts all these for the Infinity range. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The more models I see for this particular game, the more I'm interested. If anime style is your sort of thing, then these are just a fantastic range of miniatures. Seriously worth a look. Excellent stuff. And that brings me to my number 1 for this week. It's back to Skee-Ball. And this time it's not a dwarf, but rather they're miniatures. They've released a couple of miniatures this week. First off, we have a Minotaur Lord, which is simply stunning. I mean, I know it's a good paint job, which really offsets it, but the whole pose with the dynamic base, it's a seriously evil looking miniature. Fantastic amounts of detail, beautifully sculpted. It really shows off a completely overblown set of muscles on this monster. Superb model. And if that's not enough, they've released another one as well. This miniature armed with a warhammer and a shield. And again, awesome sculpt. If you're looking for any figures for, I don't know, I suppose these would be Chaos Army, that sort of thing, these are just absolutely fantastic figures from Skee-Ball. A couple of fantastic models. They really do speak for themselves. They're just excellent minis. Well, that's all I've got time for this week. I hope you've seen something you like in my selection of minis. Before I go, I just want to say a huge thank you to Bill at the Miniatures page and Zach at Tabletop Gaming News Without these guys' websites, this podcast simply wouldn't have been possible. And thanks to them for all their help. And thanks to you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the shows. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.